Welcome to Tell Me More Stories Told as podcast.
Yay to be here.
Today, we're diving deep, really going on an adventure into the life of someone you definitely know, Thomas Jeffrey Hanks.
That's right. And we're not just doing a quick rundown of his movies.
No, forget the dry facts.
Mm-hmm.
We're aiming to uncover the fascinating layers of the man himself, the actor, the filmmaker, the icon.
Absolutely. We've got a lot to unpack here, tracing his journey from, frankly, a pretty turbulent childhood.
Yeah, nomadic is a good word for it.
To becoming this global star, this figure who feels so familiar to so many people.
And what's really interesting is just the sheer breadth of his career, right?
Yeah.
And the impact he's had, especially on American culture.
Definitely. So how did this self-described geek and spaz, from a broken home in California,
Become America's dad? That's the question. Get ready for maybe some surprising moments as we explore this incredible story.
Let's get into it.
Okay, so early life. He was born in Concord, California, July 9th, 1956.
Mm-hmm. And his family background is pretty interesting. His mother, Janet Marilyn, maiden name Frager.
Right.
She was a hospital worker. Her family had Portuguese roots. Originally, the name was Fraga from the Azores.
And his father, Amos Hanks, known as Bud, was an itinerant cook, always moving around for work. English ancestry on that side.
And that constant movement really defined his early years because his parents divorced back in 1960. Tom was only about 4.
Yeah, and the family split up. Tom, his older brother Larry, and older sister Sandra went with their father,
while the youngest brother Jim stayed with their mother.
So you mentioned moving. By the time he was 10, he lived in 10 different houses.
Wow, that's a lot of change for a kid. You wonder how that instability maybe influenced his later ability to adapt, to step into different characters.
That's a really good point. And speaking of family, get this connection. It's kind of wild.
Oh, yeah.
He's distantly related to President Abraham Lincoln.
No way.
Yep. And, wait for it, Fred Rogers. Mr. Rogers.
That's incredible, especially since he ended up playing him later in A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood.
Right. It feels almost like fate or something, just adds another layer.
It really does. And his religious upbringing was also, varied.
Yeah, starting out Catholic and Mormon.
But then as a teenager, he had this period, several years actually, where he described himself as a Bible-toting evangelical.
So a real period of searching, it sounds like.
Seems that way. Now, school. He didn't paint himself as the most popular kid.
No. He used words like geek, spaz, unpopular. Said he was horribly, painfully, terribly shy.
But then there's the other side. He was also the kid who'd yell out funny captions during film strips in class.
I can picture that. So shy, but with this, like hidden performer inside, a real good kid, but with a spark.
Exactly. And that spark started finding an outlet in school plays. He was in South Pacific at Skyline High in Oakland.
And growing up in the Bay Area, he loved going to the movies. He talks fondly about the Alameda Theater, escapism, maybe.
Could be. And that love led him to study theater, first at Shabbat College in Hayward.
Right.
And then he transferred to California State University, Sacramento.
And here's a fun little anecdote about his mindset back then.
Okay.
Someone asked him in an interview if he'd rather win an Oscar or a Heisman Trophy.
What did he say?
He said he'd rather have won a Heisman playing halfback for the Cal Golden Bears.
Classic. Shows that sense of humor, that down-to-earth thing he has.
Definitely. But he was serious about theater. Spent a lot of time going to plays alone, reading programs, really soaking it all in. Brecht, Tennessee Williams, Ibsen.
Yeah, immersing himself in the craft. And then came a really key encounter.
Vincent Dowling.
Exactly. Head of the Great Lakes Theater Festival in Cleveland.
Yeah.
Hanks met him during his studies.
And Dowling suggested an internship.
Which turned into this 3-year deep dive into everything theater lighting, set design, stage management, the works.
It was so immersive he actually dropped out of college for it.
That experience must have been invaluable, seeing it all from the inside out.
And it paid off quickly, at least in terms of recognition. In 1978, he won the Cleveland Critics Circle Award for Best Actor.
And get this, it was for playing Proteus in Shakespeare's The Two Gentlemen of Verona.
A villain.
Right, not the typical Hanks role we think of now.
Yeah.
Shows his range early on.
Okay, so Cleveland theater success. What's next?
New York City. He moved there in 1979, chasing the dream,
Made his film debut pretty quickly, actually, in a low-budget slasher movie.
Ah, yes. He Knows You're Alone in 1980. A classic starting point for many actors.
Right. Then a TV movie, Mazes and Monsters, in '82. That one's got to gain a cult following over the years.
He even did some more stage work, Machiavelli's The Mandrake.
But the role that really got him noticed by a wider audience, that was the sitcom, wasn't it?
Definitely. Bosom Buddies. ABC, 1980 to 82.
The premise alone is memorable. Him and Peter Scolari as ad guys dressing as women to live in a cheap, all-female hotel.
It's a classic sitcom setup, and interestingly, he'd worked with Scolari before on a game show called Make Me Laugh.
No kidding. Small world.
Yeah. So Bosom Buddies brought him to L.A. The show, well, it never had amazing ratings.
But critics liked it.
They did. And there's that story about one of the co-producers seeing him on set.
Oh, yeah. Predicting he'd be a movie star within 2 years.
Talk about calling your shot.
Incredible foresight.
Uh-huh.
And another connection proved crucial too, right? A guest spot on Happy Days.
Yes, in 1982, he met Lowell Gans and Babaloo Mandel, the writers.
Who later wrote Splash.
Exactly. And they thought of him for it, though initially.
He was up for the brother role, the John Candy part.
He was. But Ron Howard, the director, saw him for the lead, the guy who falls for the mermaid.
And Splash just took off in '84. Huge surprise hit. Grossed almost $70 million, which was big money then.
Suddenly, he's a known quantity, a movie actor.
He followed that up pretty quick with Bachelor Party, another comedy hit that year.
Showed his comedic chops. But he was also doing guest spots on Family Ties around then.
Playing Elise Keaton's alcoholic brother, Sam.
Right, showing he could handle more serious stuff, too, even early on.
And that move towards drama seemed to continue with Nothing in Common in 1986.
Yeah, starring with the great Jackie Gleason in his final film role. Hanks himself said that movie changed things for him.
How so?
Made him want to focus more on character relationships, the why behind people's actions, not just, the plot mechanics.
Interesting. A real shift in perspective.
Seems like it. Then in '87, he signed a deal with Disney, acting and producing.
Trying out different things. Dragnet came out that year, moderate success.
But 1988, that was the game changer.
Big.
Big, huge hit, critically acclaimed. That performance being a kid in an adult's body.
Got him his first Oscar nomination for Best Actor. It really established him as a major Hollywood talent, didn't it?
Absolutely. No longer just the sitcom guy or the funny lead. He was a bona fide movie star with serious acting chops.
He followed big with Punchline, also in '88, playing a struggling comedian opposite Sally Field.
Exploring different territory again. But then he hit a bit of a slump, box office-wise.
Right, the late '80s, early '90s. The Burbs, Joe versus the Volcano, The Bonfire of the Vanities.
But those didn't quite connect with audiences in the same way. Bonfire especially, playing that greedy Wall Street type, was a big departure and kind of bombed.
Turner and Hooch in '89 was the exception.
Yeah.
The one with the dog.
That one did well financially. People loved the dog, I guess. And him, of course. But it showed, not everything was a guaranteed hit.
But he wasn't down for long. 1992 brings A League of Their Own.
Ah, yes. Playing Jimmy Duggan, the washed-up baseball player managing the women's team.
There's no crying in baseball.
Iconic line. That movie really put him back on top. Such a beloved performance.
And he himself felt his acting was evolving around this time, didn't he?
Yeah, he talked about starting his modern era of movie making around 1993. Felt his work became less pretentiously fake and over the top, more grounded.
In 1993, wow, what a year. 2 massive defining films.
Huge. First, Sleepless in Seattle, reuniting with Meg Ryan.
Cemented him as maybe the biggest romantic comedy lead around. Just incredibly charming.
And then, completely different, Philadelphia.
Playing Andrew Beckett, a gay lawyer with AIDS suing his firm. Such a powerful, important film.
And a demanding role. He lost, 35 pounds, thinned his hair, really transformed himself.
The performance was just incredible. Everyone was talking Oscar.
And they were right. He won Best Actor, his first Academy Award.
His acceptance speech was really moving, too, acknowledging his high school drama teacher and a former classmate who were gay.
Yeah, very personal, very impactful. And then, incredibly, the very next year.
1994, Forrest Gump.
Run, Forrest, run. I mean, what can you even say? Directed by Robert Zemeckis.
Playing this character with a low IQ who just sort of drifts through major moments in American history.
The film was a phenomenon. Global box office over $600 million. Touchstone for a generation.
He said he saw it as a grand, hopeful movie, offering audiences hope.
It definitely struck a chord, and the Academy agreed.
He won Best Actor again, back-to-back Oscars.
Which is almost unheard of. Only Spencer Tracy had done it before him.
And get this, they were the exact same age, 37 and 38, when they won their first and second awards.
That's uncanny. Just amazing. 2 iconic but totally different winning performances in consecutive years.
So where do you go from there? He reunites with Ron Howard in '95 for Apollo 13.
Playing Jim Lovell. Houston, we have a problem. Another critical and commercial success. 9 Oscar nominations for the film.
And in the same year, 1995, he voices Sheriff Woody in the first Toy Story.
Right. Pixar's first feature. Groundbreaking animation, and Woody instantly becomes this beloved character. His voice is just perfect for it.
Talk about range. Astronaut. Animated cowboy. Then in 96, he steps behind the camera.
Directing That Thing You Do, about a fictional 60s pop band. He acted in it, too.
Such a charming movie.
Yeah.
And it led to him starting his own production company, right?
Playtone, yeah. Co-founded with Gary Goetzman, named after the record label in the movie. Smart branding.
Shows he's thinking bigger picture, beyond just acting.
Definitely. And in 1998, he produced, co-wrote, and co-directed the massive HBO miniseries From the Earth to the Moon.
Chronicling the Apollo space program. Hugely ambitious, won an Emmy. Cost a fortune to make back then.
Showed his passion for that subject, clearly. Also in 98, another huge film.
Saving Private Ryan. Teaming up with Steven Spielberg.
Playing Captain Miller. Just a visceral, incredibly powerful war film. Another Best Actor nomination for him.
And he rounded out 98 by reuniting with Nora Ephron and Meg Ryan for You've Got Mail.
A modern remake of The Shop Around the Corner. More romantic comedy gold.
Then 1999, another significant drama, The Green Mile, based on the Stephen King story.
Directed by Frank Darabont. Playing prison guard Paul Edgecombe. Very emotional and memorable film.
And he closed out the decade by voicing Woody again in Toy Story 2.
Which many people felt was even better than the first. A pretty incredible run through the 90s.
Okay, we're right in the thick of this amazing career arc. From that shy kid in California to a 2-time Oscar winner, a director, a producer. It's really something.
It truly is.
And if you're finding this journey as fascinating as we are, and you want more deep dives into incredible stories, make sure you hit that subscribe button for Tell Me More.
Yeah, you won't want to miss what we explore next. There are always more stories waiting.
Definitely. Okay, back to the timeline. We're entering the new millennium, the 2000s.
And he kicks it off with another intense collaboration with Robert Zemeckis, Castaway in 2000.
Just him and a volleyball for a lot of it.
Yeah.
Playing that FedEx guy stranded on an island.
Wilson. Such a demanding role, physically and emotionally. Incredible performance, widely praised. Got another Oscar nomination.
Then in 2001, back to producing and directing with the HBO miniseries Band of Brothers.
Co-created with Spielberg. Based on Stephen Ambrose's book about Easy Company in World War II. Won the Emmy for Outstanding Miniseries. Just phenomenal television.
He also appeared in The America, a tribute to heroes special after 9/11.
A somber, important moment. Then 2002 rolls around, and he takes on a darker role.
Road to Perdition, directed by Sam Mendes. Playing a hitman, an anti-hero.
Showed a different side again. Worked really well.
And he teamed up with Spielberg again in 2002 for Catch Me If You Can.
Playing Carl Hanratty, the FBI agent chasing Leonardo DiCaprio's Frank Abagnale Jr. Great cat and mouse dynamic.
Also in 2002, he and Rita Wilson produced a little movie that became a massive sleeper hit.
My Big Fat Greek Wedding. Written by and starring Nia Vardalos. Made a fortune. Showed their producing instincts were sharp.
And a huge honor that year. The American Film Institute's Life Achievement Award.
At age 45, the youngest person ever to receive it, speaks volumes about his impact already by that point.
2004 was busy. 3 very different films.
Right. The Coen Brothers, The Lady Killers, a quirky remake.
Spielberg's The Terminal, playing a man stuck in an airport. And Zemeckis' The Polar Express, using that early motion capture technology. He voiced multiple characters.
He mentioned around then that his choices, since A League of Their Own, really needed to connect with him personally.
Yeah, needing an all-encompassing desire or feeling to take on a project. More selective, perhaps. Makes sense. In 2005, he got involved with the Academy itself, elected as vice president.
And 2006 brought another blockbuster, The Da Vinci Code. Based on the Dan Brown novel, huge box office success, despite mixed reviews.
That same year, Forbes named him the most trusted celebrity.
Which says a lot about his public image, that feeling of reliability and warmth he projects.
He kept producing, too, The Ant Bully, starter for 10.
2007, he lent his voice to Ken Burns' documentary, The War.
Voiced himself in The Simpsons movie, which was fun.
And starred in Charlie Wilson's War, directed by Mike Nichols. Political drama comedy.
2008 was interesting. He played the father of his actual son, Colin Hanks, in The Great Buck Howard.
Kind of a meta touch there. And he executive produced Mamma Mia, the movie musical sensation.
And the HBO miniseries John Adams, another acclaimed historical project.
2009, he reprised Robert Langdon in Angels and Demons. Reportedly got a huge payday for that sequel.
Made his 10th appearance hosting Saturday Night Live a milestone.
And produced Spike Jonze's visually unique Where the Wild Things Are.
So just constantly working, constantly diversifying across genres and roles, both on and off screen.
Absolutely. Entering the 2010s, he voices Woody again in Toy Story 3.
Oh man, that ending. So emotional for so many people who grew up with those movies. Highest grossing animated film at the time.
He also executive produced The Pacific, the companion series to Band of Brothers.
2011, he directed and starred in Larry Crown with Julia Roberts. Rom-com. Didn't get great reviews, though.
Yeah, that one didn't quite land. He also starred in Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close that year, dealing with 9/11 aftermath.
2012, he voiced a character in his own animated web series, Electric City. Tried something different there.
Played multiple roles in the very ambitious Cloud Atlas, and produced the HBO film Game Change about the 2008 election.
2013 was another really strong year for him acting-wise.
Definitely. 2 critically acclaimed performances based on true stories. Captain Phillips.
Playing the captain whose ship is hijacked by pirates. Intense.
Yeah. And Saving Mr. Banks, where he portrayed Walt Disney trying to get the rights to Mary Poppins.
Both got him award nominations. And that same year, he made his Broadway debut.
In Nora Ephron's play Lucky Guy. Played columnist Mike McAlery. Got a Tony nomination for it.
Adding Broadway actor to the resume. Then in 2014, he published a short story in The New Yorker.
Alan Bean +4. About a moon trip, tapping into his love for space again. Mixed reviews, but cool that he did it.
2015, he popped up in Carly Rae Jepsen's music video for I Really Like You. Just pure fun.
That was unexpected.
Yep.
Then back to serious drama with Spielberg in Bridge of Spies, the Cold War thriller, playing lawyer James B. Donovan.
2016 brought A Hologram for the King, Sully, directed by Clint Eastwood.
Playing Captain Chesley Sullenberger, the pilot who landed the plane on the Hudson, another great real-person performance.
And he reprised Robert Langdon again in Inferno.
2017, he was in the tech thriller The Circle, and voiced his SNL character David S. Pumpkins in a Halloween special. Any questions?
Iconic. 2019, Woody returns for Toy Story 4.
And another incredible biographical role, playing Fred Rogers in A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood.
Which earned him his first nomination for Best Supporting Actor. Such a gentle, nuanced performance.
Really captured his essence without just doing an imitation.
Then 2020 hit. He and Rita Wilson were among the first high-profile figures to get COVID-19.
Right. And shortly after recovering, he hosted SNL from home. A very surreal moment early in the pandemic.
He also starred in Greyhound, a World War II naval film he wrote himself, released on Apple TV Plus.
And reunited with director Paul Greengrass for the Western News of the World.
2021, another Apple TV Plus release, the sci-fi drama Finch.
And remember that podcast, Dead Eyes? Where the host talked about being fired from Band of Brothers, supposedly because Hanks thought he had dead eyes?
Vaguely, yeah.
Well, Hanks finally went on the podcast for this long, fascinating interview, addressing the whole thing after 20 years. It was quite something.
Wow, really? Need to check that out. Then 2022, playing Colonel Tom Parker in Baz Luhrmann's Elvis.
A very different, almost villainous role for him again. Polarizing performance, but memorable.
And Geppetto in Disney's live-action Pinocchio.
And starred in A Man Called Otto, the American remake.
2023, he appeared in Wes Anderson's Asteroid City, part of that huge ensemble cast.
And just this year, 2024, the miniseries he produced with Spielberg, Masters of the Air, premiered on Apple TV Plus paid.
Plus the movie here, reuniting him with Zemeckis and Robin Wright from Forrest Gump, using that de-aging tech.
And he popped up on the SNL 50th anniversary special, reprising his Doug character in a Black Jeopardy sketch.
He's got In the Garden of Beasts upcoming too, based on the Eric Larson book. Just keeps going.
It's relentless. And the awards, we mentioned the 2 Oscars, but also 7 Emmys, 4 Golden Globes, the AFI Award, Kennedy Center Honor, Presidential Medal of Freedom, French Legion of Honor. The list is long.
He gets compared to Jimmy Stewart a lot, that everyman quality. And the nickname America's Dad just stuck.
It fits somehow. He's also one of the highest-grossing actors ever in North America, and there's an asteroid named after him, all 2818 Tom Hanks.
That's pretty cool. His Desert Island Discs appearance was interesting, too. Chose a Hermes typewriter as his luxury item.
Of course he did. He's famously obsessed with typewriters, even released an app for one.
He's done multiple interviews on NPR's Fresh Air. And Roger Ebert wrote quite insightfully about his appeal, how he makes decency seem like an exciting choice.
A great way to put it. Personally, married twice. First to Samantha Lewis, mother of Colin and Elizabeth. Samantha sadly passed away from cancer later.
Then his long marriage to Rita Wilson since 1988. They have 2 sons, Chet and Truman.
He converted to Greek Orthodox before marrying Rita, and the family later got honorary Greek citizenship for their help after wildfires there.
He revealed he has type 2 diabetes back in 2013. He's a big Aston Villa football fan.
And we mentioned the Fred Rogers connection earlier, which he discovered later in life. Politically, he supported Democratic candidates and causes like environmentalism and caregiver support.
And his interests go beyond film, supports NASA, collects those typewriters. He's an ordained minister, started a coffee company supporting veterans.
And he's a published author, a short story collection, Uncommon Type, and a novel, The Making of Another Major Motion Picture Masterpiece.
So, when you pull back and look at it all, what does it all mean?
I mean, it's just an extraordinary career, isn't it? It's not just about the individual roles, but this incredible adaptability, this genuine connection he seems to forge.
From playing a guy falling for a mermaid, to Forrest Gump, to Captain Miller, to Fred Rogers, it's this persistent curiosity about, well, about us, about the human experience.
Yeah, and the question becomes, how does someone achieve that level of fame, that kind of iconic status, yet still feel so relatable, so fundamentally decent?
What is it about his storytelling, the choices he makes, the way he presents himself, that resonates so deeply with so many people for so long?
It's something to really think about. His work reflects certain values, maybe, that audiences connect with. Hope, resilience, decency, humor.
It's a journey that's far from over, clearly. But we hope this deep dive has given you, a bit more insight into the man behind all those characters we know so well.
It's a story that keeps adding new chapters.
Thanks for joining us on Tell Me More. Until next time, keep exploring the stories around you.